Yeah, there's one other really cool memory I have of stuff with or of you, and that was that actually was really educational for me, and that was we had I just come home with Neil Young's album After the Gold Rush. It was brand new.
Yeah.
And you know, heard the first song and could hear very clearly this.
Yeah.
You know, little picking thing.
It's kind of like Wildwood Flower. It's the same technique.
It is, yeah. And I remember thinking, wow, that's really cool. You know, and I sat down there and figured it out, and I think, you know, I could kind of hear what was going on. And then as I listened a little further through the album, we got to Don't Let It Bring Me Down. That is a weird tuning. And I remember thinking, wow, that's some weird chords. Double drop D.
Double drop D.
As a lot of the songs are. You know, some of the lessons I have up here have that same thing. But then got to Southern Man.
Oh.
And it opens up with piano playing these things. And I'm saying, oh, man, how do we figure out those chords? You know, how can you figure out what the chords are if there's no guitar playing in there? You know, and you don't remember this, although I may have told you about it before. But he said, well, just find the bass notes for whatever they're playing. You know, so we started looking around and said, oh, that note fits with what they're playing.
Yeah.
And then try this. And said, no, that doesn't quite fit.
That sounds,
yeah. And so figured out, you know, could hear this.
Generally playing the root, you know.
And it wasn't long from that to, you know, being able to put the chords together and stuff. But that was like a huge light bulb revelation moment for me. And I tell my students this all the time, that even if you can't hear the guitar, you can hear the bass, find the bass notes, and then start putting logic to it to figure out what goes on with the chords, you know, so.
Because generally, not always, but generally the bass is playing the root, you know.
Yeah, or at least a note in the chord. So it's always a clue, you know.
Or he's drunk and he's playing some alternative.
Yeah, a half key off or half step off or something, you know. So, but yeah, that was another. So again, I've got some very specific memories about a particular song that one way or another. And I remember, I guess one last thing was the next album, Neil Young's Harvest, was one that we'd heard a lot of the songs off of because of that bootleg I had called Happy Y'all Came Down. And so
got that one too. I still have that.
Do you? Still got your Rubber Dubber record for $6?
I do.
Me too. It's right down there with wooden nickel and.
Hope Neil's not watching this. Been known to confiscate his bootlegs.
Yeah, he doesn't know where we live.
No, good.
Yeah. So of course we did try to make pilgrimages to his house and figure out where that ranch was.
I tried that a couple times. Made a couple running starts of that and politely asked her told I wasn't welcome.
To go away, yeah. But Harvest kept getting delayed for some reason. I remember because we had that album was recorded in 1971, in February of '71, which it probably came out on
Dorothy
bootleg like a
Pavilion.
week after it was. So they've since released this Massey Hall thing. Have you heard that?
I've heard
it's
of it.
from the same tour, and the sound quality is absolutely pristine. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And his voice is stunning. I mean, so the quality of what we got on that Rubber Dubber record was a little suspect, you know. But there were 3 or 4 songs that showed up on Harvest that we've been messing with already. There was this.
Yeah, Old Man.
Yeah. Anyhow, and from us hearing that on the bootleg, we spent a lot of time learning them and stuff, you know. But I remember Harvest didn't come out till like a year after that album. The bootleg came out, and we thought we were so cool because we were already like playing some of these songs from Neil Young's soon coming album.
Heart of Gold was on.
Oh yeah, that was on that bootleg too.
Was on that bootleg.
So we had that.
I even got a.
Yeah.
It's funny. My son's playing all that stuff now.
Mine too. It's great.
It's like. Yeah, it's a cracker. He goes on YouTube. There's if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of old Neil Young stuff from that era you can watch, and you know, it's pretty fun. You know, and he just sounds great. You know, he's just
it is.
Wow, I know. We were playing Heart of Gold before anyone heard it.
Yeah, except those that had.
Yeah, those that had the bootleg.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those 2 of my prized possessions were that bootleg and James Taylor's one called "Isn't It Nice to Be Home Again."
That was a great one, and I had that. I think you dubbed off a copy on cassette for me.
Oh, probably.
And I ended up loaning it to some friend of mine in Santa Barbara and never got it back.
Oh, I could get it on CD for you now.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a great record.
Yeah, and because it was stuff off just Sweet Baby James and earlier, because he wasn't even doing anything off Mudslide Slim. Oh no, he did. You Can Close Your Eyes. There were 1 or 2 that were just about to come. It was the same deal. There were a few that weren't released yet because he wasn't playing like You've Got a Friend or anything else like that yet.
Not yet,
yeah. Sweet Baby James and the Apple album was where a lot of that stuff came from.
I remember it was a double record set, and the first record was him playing solo, acoustic guitar, and then the second one Was it double or was it?
Yeah, it was double. No, it was double record.
And then the other one was with backups with his band.
Yeah,
mostly I listened to the first one.
Yeah, it was just the guitar.
How he was playing his guitar.
Yeah, the less clutter, the better.
Because that was all that you hear was he had played that big old Gibson, and at the time I thought, I mean I've always thought, I don't know, at least then, and some of the worst sounding guitars I've ever heard have been like Gibson acoustics. From his sounded really good.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine has a big Gibson Dreadnought. We call it the Log. My friend Phil Salazar, a fiddle player, I worked with for years, and years ago I'd break a string on this guitar, and he'd laugh at me because the only thing available was the Log, and I'd have to pick that guitar up and play it for the rest of the set. Because he had this. The time when he was playing, he had this kind of fast-paced thing he was doing. There wasn't time to change a string between the songs.
Okay, right.
So, second song of the set, I break a string on this, and I have to play this. I don't even know what model it was. It was a big mahogany Gibson Dreadnought that weighed about 70 pounds, and it had like timbers like out of like a whaling ship, for braces and. Just trying to get tone out of it. So, but James Taylor's, I remember that guitar, and I think on that album he was just miking it. I don't think at that time.
I think so. I don't think there were. Yeah, this is still the same time as 1970 or so.
I saw him in concert about 1972, and he did have some sort of a. He had this thing covering up the sound hole. It's one of those sound hole type things. Yeah, it's the first time I ever saw one of those. And but at this record, it was just
yeah, because when those first came out, they of course. They didn't sound very good. Made your guitar sound like an electric guitar.
No, his guitar didn't sound that great with that. But on this record, it's just a microphone, and that was a great sounding guitar. And since then I've heard other ones that sound really, really good. That are similar. That slope-shouldered Dreadnought gives them. Those are nice guitars.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, the Log was made in the '70s, which was probably
heyday of terrible guitars for everybody.
Well, it's probably the worst. Decade in American manufacturing history for cars, for just about anything you can name, and guitars were no exception.
I think we're going to wrap this up for now, because I think this was really fun kind of going down memory lane there with you, and playing some of those tunes.
All those campfire songs we used to play, And
that's true, because we were sort of in charge of leading the campfire sing-alongs, too. So we had to learn all these other songs, like Today, While the Blossoms Still Cling to the Vine. We did some Donovan tunes, the Happiness Runs in a Circular, what was that, the Pebble in the Man, or whatever that was called.
Pebble in the Man, or something.
Something like. There were a few others that...
it was like Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah,
all that,
we did Blowing in the Wind, I think, too. And we got in trouble for doing House of the Rising Sun at a campfire once.
Oh, I know. Didn't she think it was about a house of ill repute or something?
Yeah,
or was
it probably was, too.
Maybe
but it was just not appropriate material for teenagers to be playing at camp back in the late 60s, I guess. They hadn't quite gone the protest song route yet.
Yeah, not quite. So we weren't. That one was banned. But.
Yeah. Well, Mike, it's been really fun visiting with you, and thanks for coming in to do all this. And maybe we'll get you to do a lesson or two here before you leave town again today. But in either case, this is going to be really this is neat, kind of being able to. Of course, because we didn't have video cameras back then when we were going through our childhood. My children have grown up with their whole lives being documented by Dad and three or five cameras.
I know, and the memories become indelible. Outside here.
Yeah.
So there's no camp tapes that I'm aware of. I have
a few photographs here and there.
Photos,
and stuff,
but
no audio tapes or anything like that. But you know what? You're right. We got the memories. So
that's right. That's what's important.
Thanks. This was great.
Thank you.